So let's talk a little bit about Edgar Allan Poe. He's the writer of Hop Frog. He was born in Virginia in 1809. His parents were actors, but he had a really, really tough life. His father abandoned them. His mother died of tuberculosis when he was 3. And so he was taken in as a foster child by a family called the Allens. His foster mom also got tuberculosis and died. He had a really troubled relationship with his foster dad and was disowned by him when Edgar spoke of pursuing a literary career. So later, Poe married his 13-year-old cousin Virginia when he was 17. And obviously, like the age difference and the relation, like that they were related. And I'm not justifying it. All I'm saying is that he really, really loved her. And he was devastated when she died 11 years later. And she also died of tuberculosis. So a very common disease back then, and something that was very difficult, if not impossible, to treat. So Poe was plagued by her illness, his own emotional troubles, and poverty. He didn't have any money. He disappeared one day and was found later on the streets. He was drunk and he was beaten up. After 4 days of being in a delirium, he died in 1849, so I think he was about 40. He wrote poems like The Raven. I don't know if you've read it or if you've maybe seen like the Simpsons adaptation of it. It's got this raven who sits above the door, and it's about his wife Lenore. It's very, I don't know, it makes you definitely think about like when his own wife died. He also wrote the short story like the Cask of wrote short stories like The Cask of Amontillado, which you may have read. It's that like one guy leads another guy down into like a cellar and then he buries him alive. Sorry if I ruined it for you. And you probably read The Telltale Heart. That's one of his most famous ones. It's like the eye. Who this guy has this eye, and the character is really paranoid that this eye is always watching him, so he kills the guy. And then he buries him in the floorboards, but he can still hear the heart beating, even though it's not. He's just super paranoid, and so he ends up turning himself in. So we're going to read Hop Frog, which is another one of Edgar Allan Poe's stories. He wrote it in 1849, and I actually got this offline, but I just really liked what it said. So every event, detail, and word built toward a desired effect like horror, and Poe devised and ordered incidents so that they mounted to a frightening climax, drawing the reader in to share the horror experienced by the characters. So, we're going to read Hop Frog, and I just wanted to point this out to you because it's a reference that you might not catch. So at the very beginning, when the king is being described, it says the king prefers Gargantua to Voltaire, and basically what they're saying is that he likes comedies, he likes to laugh over dramas, over more serious matters. So, for your assignment, let's grab it. I took the text. Actually, let's not do that. Let's just keep it like this. So I took the text and I copied and pasted it into this middle box here. You've got your Learning Targets Essential Questions at the top. And it's like The Devil and Tom Walker in that I'm going to ask you to draw, but I'm going to be much more focused on what I'm asking you to do. So, as you read this first section, you're going to highlight what you learn about the king. And your goal is to not highlight too much, it's just a nice study skill, because when you highlight too much, then you end up giving yourself more work, so you have to go back to read it all again. Your goal is highlighting like words and like little phrases. Yeah, because then you can just quickly glance at it instead of rereading sections. So you'll read these first few paragraphs, and then as you're reading, you'll highlight what you learned about the king, and then you're going to stop and draw. So then in the left-hand margin, you're going to draw your king, what you learn about him, and put it right here. Let's just keep going on this for really quick. So then as you read the next section, you'll highlight what you learn about Hop Frog. And again, just words and like short phrases. Don't highlight whole sentences. And then you'll stop and you'll draw what you learn about Hop Frog right here. Draw Hop Frog, what you learn about him. So there's This is a shorter text. The Devil and Tom Walker is a 33-minute audiobook, and this is a 22-minute audiobook, so it's 11 minutes shorter when read aloud. I also did not do as many stop and draws. There's more at the beginning and then less as you go. And they're all very focused, so you know exactly what you're looking for. Capitalize on stick people, okay? I don't need elaborate illustrations. So you're gonna, in this right-hand margin, you're gonna annotate where you see the elements of romanticism. So obviously the entire text is imaginative because it's a short story, it's fiction, it's creative. But there's, perhaps you might also think about like Hot Frog and how he is imaginative. There's definitely emotion in there, so if you find that would be great. There's one reference to nature, and it's pretty significant actually. It talks about how nature made Hot Frog the way he was, like that nature bestowed that on him, and not God. Okay, so it's a pretty significant line. The legends, I don't believe there are any, and there's no supernatural. So you're not going to have a lot in this right-hand column, okay? You'll just have a little bit. Then, once you're done, in the middle, there's a quick write, and it says, what emotions drive Hot Frog to seek revenge, and what do you think his revenge will be? So it's just identifying those emotions that he feels, and then making a prediction. And then at the very end, there's one final quick write. Is Hot Frog's vengeance justified? And explain. So you'll do those two quick writes, and then at the end you'll answer your essential questions and complete your self-assessment. If you have any questions, concerns, please email me or come see me. Otherwise, I hope you enjoy Hot Frog, and you gotta love some Edgar Allan Poe, huh?